Okay, well there was that basket full of goodies, and there was my favorite is there were two $50 certificates to Lucille's, the barbecue place. There was two $50 certificates to another very good restaurant.
The Catch.
The Catch. We haven't been to the Catch. And then there was another. There was a membership to the Huntington Library, which is just incredible, and a book about Blue Boy and Pinky, and a book about the Huntington Library. We have a membership there. We can go there and walk around.
We are so excited about
yeah,
that.
It was
oh
just.
my gosh,
I mean, it's like
would never do that for ourselves.
What is so great. Wish Ron was here, because I'd say, Ron, can you teach the next 4 weeks? Because we're just going to go to the Huntington. That would be great. So no, there was all kinds of stuff, and I was going to take pictures of everything, but I didn't do it. But thanks, Carolyn, for you guys were just great. It was awesome. There was even another restaurant there. I can't remember what it was, but
it was a couple of the gals that shopped for it, and it was Pat's idea to get you the Huntington Library membership.
That is such a great idea, because that is such an encouraging thing for my head, for my mind. It's just an expansive thing.
In the garden. You can stay there all day.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
For the whole year.
Yeah, and it's such a great blend of all of our interests, because there's the history, there's the art, there's the gardens that we love, and you can just go and have picnics there. And
take your computer and I can get on Wi-Fi there and do my lessons right there. Anyway, no, thank you so much.
Back to your body. Did you bring that club in so I can exchange it?
Yeah, it's in the van.
Okay.
Thanks, Dale. All right. Okay. All right, you got this? This is the theology of retribution. We want to be careful of that. You can't always say, hey, if you do good, God is going to be good to you. If you do bad, God is always going to do bad. It's not going to work like that. We see a lot of evil people in the world that are doing just fine, thank you very much. Call them politicians. I'm sorry. Jackie just hates that. She just hates that. But our experience contradicts the theory. The innocent have suffered throughout history. They'll continue to suffer. It cannot reconcile suffering with the existence of a sovereign God. And so many people will say, I can't believe in God because there's too much suffering in the world. Yeah. Well, that's part of this. That's part of this, because they say, well, God is like a man.
That's a cop-out.
God is like a man. Because a man would reward people, would reward righteous people. A man would punish evil people. And so when we say God is like a man, then what we're doing is we are lowering God to our standard. God cannot be lowered to our standard. All right? This doesn't work. All right? This idea doesn't work. All right. Now here's the idea, though. The modern incarnation of this theology of retribution comes from people who preach this word faith movement, like Kenneth Hagin, John Hagee, Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, Rod Parsley, the assertion that God guarantees health and wealth through faith and obedience to His word.
You know what? I kind of disagree with that, because it's emphasizing a point which people are getting, which is not what it is. I listen to them all the time. I don't like that. It's not. We're emphasizing the material things, and that's the reason why we have to be very careful when we criticize these guys. Because it's not material things. It's your spiritual relationship with the Lord.
So you're saying that they don't teach this?
You know what? Teaching that you're going to get money or something for giving money is only maybe 1/100%. It's your relationship with the Lord that's important, and they do emphasize that, but that's left out with all the criticism. They don't talk about their relationship with the Lord.
God doesn't guarantee.
I'm not okay.
Oh, I know that.
Listen, and my problem is not with the guys. My problem's with the theology. All right, it's with the theology. I don't like to. I didn't really do this. It's just that this is where these people have. This is the idea that in modern times, this is where we see this, and you got to be careful. So all I'm saying is, watch what you're listening to. Be careful about what you're listening to. And I agree, and I always hesitate to point out names, and I very rarely do this. And the reason I very rarely do it is because I know God has His ways of doing things. I used to always badmouth the guy at Crystal Cathedral. I used to do that. What was his name? Schuller. I used to badmouth Schuller because I took the MacArthur position. Hey, he doesn't preach sin. He's not preaching the gospel. You know, that's a problem. And then I kept meeting people, person after person, who got involved in that church, and then they got involved in a Sunday school class like ours and came to know the Lord, and they were wonderful Christians. And I thought, wow, God uses a lot of different ways to bring people in. Because you know what? Everybody's story is different. So, you know, you can listen to these guys, but just keep in your mind, retribution theory is not an appropriate theory for believers. How do we know that? Because of the book of Job. That's why we know it. All right, so this is kind of interesting. How many of you know about the Jabez prayer? Yeah. He says, you must be Job. My name is Jabez. I'm your new neighbor. Remember Jabez? 2 Chronicles 1, 9 through 10. Somebody find that really quick. 1 Chronicles 1, 9 through 10. Is that a 1 or a 4? Maybe that's a 4. Go ahead, Esther.
What was the chapter?
Bible drill. Bible drill.
Sword drill.
It was this guy, he said that he made a special prayer.
Chronicles what?
Go ahead and read it.
First Chronicles 4, 9, 10.
Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. His mother had named him Jabez, saying, I gave birth to him in pain. Jabez cried out to the God of Israel, Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm, so that I will be free from pain. And God granted his request.
And God granted his request. Is that incredible? I just love this juxtaposition of Jabez and Job. Same men, they're both honorable. God grants Jabez's request and then allows Satan to nail Job. All right, so, but you can't say that God is a man. God has his ways are higher than our ways. All right, these three men, I wanted to talk just a little bit about Elihu too, but don't have time, because I want to actually do chapter 2. I'm going to forget about Elihu, I'll come back to it later on. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them to present himself before the Lord. We're in Job 2 right now. On earth, of course, we're seeing Job. Job is suffering. He's sitting on a pile of ashes, and he's scraping boils with a piece of sharp pottery, because it's the only thing that gives him any kind of relief, this poor guy. But he hasn't sinned. He hasn't blamed God. And so Satan also came among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? Satan answered the Lord and said, oh, you know, from roaming the earth, walking around on it, just kind of hunting around, looking for people I can destroy. And so God says, and the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth. He's a blameless and upright man, fearing God, turning away from evil, and he still holds fast his integrity, although you incited me against him to ruin him without cause. Who ruined Job?
Devil.
Okay, isn't that interesting? You incited me against him to ruin him. He's saying that to say, it's not that God ruined Job, it's that God allowed Satan to do what he wanted. All right? That's important. All right. And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yes, all that a man has he will give for his life. However, put forth thy hand now, touch his bone and his flesh, and he'll curse thee to thy face. So the Lord said to Satan, behold, he's in your power, only spare his life. And then Satan went from the presence of the Lord, smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, and he took a potsherd to scrape himself while he was sitting among the ashes. And then his wife said to him, do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die. But he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Shall we indeed accept good from God and not accept adversity? And all this, Job did not sin with his lips. Listen to this. This is from Ray Stedman.
And to cap it all, the one to whom he ought to have been able to turn for emotional support turned against him. His wife said to him, do you still hold fast your integrity? Now you can see that her faith has crumbled under this attack. She no longer believes that God is a loving, thoughtful, just, and fair God. She sees this as proof, as many of us have seen in some similar trial, that God has forsaken his promises, that the Bible is not true. How many times I've come to comfort people who are going through trials and had them say to me, I tried these promises. I tried believing God, but it doesn't